This is video taken of Echo Park by a German guy apparently living in Venice, California. Somehow I'm unable to download this one. If you go to the video, go to 145, it's clearly a police area. They have their backs to a sprinkling of people behind them. If you follow through the video, you'll see that section is secured. So you start at 145 and Glory Jones starts walking in. She's right on that film. I think she noticed she's on the film. She sheepishly bent down so she couldn't be seen, and then she walked away. Apologies for not being able to download this one. I also heard at around 145 someone calling for Fifi. I don't know if that means anything.
Fifi? What is what?
I can't really give a confident opinion on that part, but I am 100% sure that is Glory Jones in the police area at Echo Park. The Convo Couch is not only promoting Magnus of the Boogaloo Boys, they're promoting some other guy from something called BLM 757. A YouTuber named Autumn Sword gets the hat tip. He told me about this guy. Fiorella had done an interview with him. His name is Aubrey Dwight Jafari Jones Jr. Ford Fisher had filmed an armed rally at Newport News Police Station in Virginia. Ford Fisher is tied directly to Tim Pool and other right-leaning internet personalities. He's been on InfoWars, the Alex Jones show. There's an ordinance in that town that bans the carrying of firearms, yet the policeman had no problem with that. He even gave one of the Boogaloo Boys a chocolate milk drink. There's Fisher. He's a proverbial disinfo shill working for this military project that includes all those people. Here's my comment to Autumn Sword. Thanks. The dude from BLM 757 has some strange background from 2010. First, before I continue there, so yes, check out that video by Autumn Sword. He and whoever he's associating with on the internet or whatever's going on there, they ended up in the same area I did. He apparently is coming from the more political part of this in regards to a movement for the People's Party, something I know nothing about, but it looks similar to that thing Cenk Uygur came up with years ago. Remember Bernie was trying to win against Hillary, and then came the where's the plane thing, but stuff ends up going down memory holes, which apparently is an Orwellian phrase, but I digress. Anyway, back to this. So it looks like Aubrey Dwight Jafari Jones Jr., you can search for him. In 2010, he was convicted, or he was appealing. I don't see what happened to the appeal, but it's right there that he was convicted of a violent breaking and entering. It looked like a violent breaking and entering with intent to beat someone up. If you go through the available documents that are easy to find, just search his name. He was wearing body armor. And there was himself with armed Boogaloo Boys outside a police station in a town that doesn't allow it. Yet apparently they do allow it if you're a Boogaloo Boy and from BLM 757. The police set them up with audio equipment and they were allowed to proceed. They were allowed to break the law with military-looking weapons. Ford Fisher was filming it. Is it only the few of us out here that are noticing these trends? That I don't believe. My theory is that people are backing off from participating in social media. They see that it's rigged. Most people are not going to be masochists and interact with people who are acting in bad faith. I was able to download a smaller version that's available on YouTube. I'll splice that in here while I'm talking. I've also got a recent interview with Fiorella in which the suspicious Aubrey Dwight Jafari Jones Jr. made some weird comment about terrorists, foreign and domestic. So yes, check out Autumn Sword. He's got a 2-hour presentation. A number of days ago he let me know of an article. I think he wrote it. It was basically something to do with Tulsi Gabbard and Jimmy Dore. the more people who can get involved in the legitimate cyber sleuthing could really help this as a crowdsourcing type thing. It's simply overwhelming for any one of us to try to piece all of this together. Ford Fisher, I'm going through screenshots right now. He's got protesters defy local gun ordinance at Virginia Police Station. BLM 757 is from Virginia. I got a little video here of them saying it had no role in property damage and looting at a Peninsula town center. He was convicted for blocking the road. He was convicted for some protest-related crimes. I mean, that's like not anything to attack him on for that. I have no clue whether he was involved in that property damage. I do know that Redneckonomics like to promote that sort of thing, as long as it isn't the mom and pop store. I have a screenshot here of that court case. People can look into it themselves. It's a conspiracy to commit burglary and wearing body armor. He claims to have been working as a security officer, so that's explaining the weapons and the body armor. Looks like an associate of him had an asp. That's some type of bludgeoning weapon. I'm not saying every criminal gets flipped into an informant. I'm saying it's more likely someone got flipped as an informant when they have this sort of background and they're involved in shady activist groups that are carrying weapons and talking nonsense. So we got this guy Jones, interviewed and promoted by Theorella Isabel. What a coincidence. This was posted recently, even though it took place probably during that Washington, D.C. visit. Maybe it took them a while to decide whether or not to promote this guy. I left a comment for Kit at Hardlands Media. I asked him to do a fake fight with the other channels, promoting militias in order to save the show. Hardlands Media seems to be trying to seem legitimate as a news source. More of a raw story than a slow news day or what the F. There's Kit, he has tardive dyskinesia, they all do. Get some comments here. It's 14 minutes of a protest from Ford Fisher's YouTube channel. One can see the cop was breaking the ordinance by allowing it, and Jafari Jones, along with another alleged BLM supporter, were there in unity with Boogaloo Boys. Here's Fiorella with Mr. Jones. He's got sort of a tough name, that nickname, or I don't know what's up with that name. It's tough to remember. I'll just call him Mr. Jones. Dwight Jones, Mr. Jones, I don't know. I left a comment on Slow News Day, I think, or on that Fiorella one, I forget. On what planet is this not COINTELPRO? There's a photo of him. There's Glory Jones. We just saw her in the police area. Political vigilante, which I think is code for Project Vigilant. I think this is the offshoot from the Ron Breinart, Larissa Alexandrovna, Brad blog stuff. Perhaps the original citizen journalist, PSYOP. So you got Elwood promoting more RT, Russia Today people. Type in Graham Elwood, Afghanistan. I think I shook them. Autumn Sword, he's got me thinking of this phrase, you shook them, or they're shook. Something like that. I assume the fourth wall had collapsed. I was doing this at Twitter. I confronted lots of people. I think I have shaken these people up in regards to both the tardive dyskinesia. Elwood has the tongue jutting out. Recently I noticed he's trying to block it, so he's aware of it. I can read faces. I must have picked that skill up from having Asperger's, even though I was undiagnosed until recently. I only figured it out in the last couple of years. Despite that, I probably learned how to read faces to get through life. I had the female prototype. I'm a masculine guy or whatever. I mean, I'm not Richard Simmons over here. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But I had the sociable, the more female fitting in type of Asperger's. So anyway, I shook Elwood not only on the tardive dyskinesia, but also especially on this Iraq-Afghanistan stuff. I've been able to get into the chat rooms. I was in the chat room last night with Roar Media, the Beauty and the Boomer show. I'll get into that a little bit later. My plan is probably to go with 15-minute videos and just stop putting them into parts. That way, it's more of a stream of consciousness. I am putting together a lot of stuff, so it's not really a stream of consciousness. I actually take that back. I'm going to try to minimize the cracking jokes, singing, that fun stuff, and try to be a little more professional. Most of the work I end up having to edit the audio. I go at my own pace. Talking monotone certainly helps that process. One might not be able to put two and two together whether I edited a sentence together. I am trying to sound natural. A lot of what I'm saying is natural. Again, I get the female version. I still have trouble communicating though. I could get overwhelmed. But anyway, back to the point. I'm working off of the screenshots. I believe in a mosaic approach. I was certified in teaching. I'm an academic. I was an intellectual. I gotta stand up for what I'm saying. I understand all that stuff is on loan. No one can take anything with them when they die. Not even knowledge or wisdom or anything like that. So I'm just living in the moment, trying to help make it a better world, and this is how I figure that might be accomplished. To expose these military shills. I think they're working for the military. Graham Elwood, he seemed very shook that I brought up his comedy crap, Ola, from Afghanistan. He doesn't really talk about it at all on his channel. There's one video on his channel. I think he's trying to sell the DVD. It doesn't have that many views. I have never heard him talk about his time in the military. So I shook him up. Again, I could do this 24 hours, 7 days a week. It just goes on and on forever. I can't take anything with me. I've learned a lot in the last year or two in regards to that. Everything's on loan. So Elwood was responding that, look at this troll making fun of me. I'm paraphrasing what he said because I'm going by memory. He's basically saying he's in the USO show. It's like, look at this troll calling me a warmonger just for doing USO shows. Well, if you plug in Graham Elwood, Afghanistan, there are only about 2 videos that pop up. It's barely mentioned. He was on some Las Vegas news show. They were spamming. They were actually selling tickets. There's not much of Elwood doing comedy on the YouTubes, but he's very bad. He might even be worse than Rogan. I never thought anything like that could be possible. But the big money video, the only one that's really now available, I think, unless you buy the video through Elwood. They misspelled his name. This guy, Steve Poikonen, I looked into it a little bit. He's an executive, or was, with Disney. You can see it's from 13 years ago. Elwood was very pro-military. There's no way around it that this is a bad look, or else Elwood wouldn't have been shook by my trolling. Sarah Friel's has scrubbed videos, a lot of them. I checked out her channel. She's the one who was harassing Nina Turner. I'm the only one with the film on the internet. Maybe it's elsewhere. Maybe someone else grabbed it from her or myself and saved it. She was harassing Nina Turner. She's linked directly to Independent Outsider and Deb Delapiana. Independent Outsider, I noticed him on the Roar Media where they list the people giving them money, giving them donations. Independent Outsider's on that. He's linked to Redneckonomics. These people are very heavy-handed. I hope Autumn Sword and many more can see what we're looking at and somehow help out, turn it into a crowdsource. I don't know where we could congregate, where this could be most disseminated, researched, and then circulated. But to repeat, one person cannot put together a theory of everything in regards to Internet COINTELPRO. I have the Aspie mind, so I can easily connect up these people with little effort. My difficulty is in articulating that type of stuff. When I have Medium, it's a lot easier. I can run through the screenshots, then I can let my memory do the work. I take some notes here and there when I can, especially when I like to parse videos. Otherwise, one will forget what they learned and then be unable to find it in their brain to share in video form. There's Elwood. Right, so now I'm up to the screenshots in which Roar Media got shook by myself. They didn't like what I was saying. They could just have muted me or banned me, whatever. Maybe they expected me to say something very stupid, but I do not play that game. I am not a fake thinker like they are. I never saw any of these people on the internet before a year or two ago. The Oz guy on the right, he's the Ebon Kim, the engineer.